It's not easy to be green, especially split pea green. Let's face it, there is no way to make the split pea soup look good. But what it lacks in looks, it more than makes up for in taste. This soup is based on a stock that is smoky and almost ramen rich, and it's loaded with velvety pieces of pork and beautifully cooked mirepoix. For me, this is the ultimate cold weather food. Let's start with the stock. We'll need 4 pork hocks. This is the cut from the bottom of the leg right before the foot starts, and it also goes under the names of shank or knuckle. It is loaded with collagen that will convert to gelatin and give your stock amazing richness. This cut is sold in both smoked and unsmoked form. I prefer to use at least some smoked hocks because they give the soup such great aroma. The smoked hocks are usually more expensive than raw ones, so if you want to use some of each, that works too. Today we are making the soup in the Instant Pot because it's faster and, most importantly, hands off. But you're welcome to use a regular stock pot. I'll give you instructions for both in the recipe below the video. Put the hocks in the pot. Add 12 cups of cold water and a couple of bay leaves. Seal the pot. Make sure the pressure release valve is sealed and cook on high pressure for 1 hour. I like to turn off keep warm. Then let the pressure drop naturally, which will take another 30 minutes or so. Skim off any clumps of scum that you see floating on top of the soup and remove the pork hocks. They should be completely falling apart at this point. Add 2 pounds of split peas and some salt. I'm not trying to season the soup completely yet, just to get it started. Don't forget to dry any moisture that is sitting in the lid. If you leave it there, the pot might have a hard time sealing properly and pressurizing. Seal the pot and cook at high pressure for 25 minutes. Then let the pressure drop naturally, which will take an extra 30 minutes or so. While our peas are cooking, let's make the sofrito. That's that carrot, celery, onion mixture that most soups start with, but for long cooking soups like this one, I prefer to add it in the end to prevent the veggies from turning too mushy. We'll need 2 large carrots, 2 celery ribs, and 2 yellow onions. Dice it all up. It's good knife skills practice. I'll link to some knife skills videos in the description below. If you like spending hours on your chopping and torturing yourself and your veggies, by all means chop any which way you want. But if you want to get better at knife skills, there's no better time than a pandemic. If home cooks spent as much time improving their knife skills as they did messing around with sourdough starters, the world would be a better place. We'll also need 4 minced garlic cloves. You're welcome to use a garlic press if you want. And a bunch of minced thyme leaves, but that's optional. Set a 12-inch skillet, if possible stainless steel, over medium heat. Add 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of butter. You're welcome to replace it with more oil. Add the diced carrots, celery, and onions. Add a generous pinch of salt and stir cooking occasionally. Don't forget to tuck in all the veggies after each stir. Don't leave them on the sides of the skillet, that dries them out. We have a lot of veggies here, so be patient. This might take 15 to 20 minutes. If you go to culinary school, they'll teach you that sofrito for a soup should be cooked until the onions are translucent and tender, but not brown. I disagree. I like my sofrito slightly browned. It's way more complex and flavorful that way. The key is to do it slowly. When your skillet starts to form the brown bits on the bottom, add your garlic and thyme. Stir for a couple of minutes until aromatic, and then deglaze the pan with a cup of dry white wine. This will give your soup the much needed acidity and complexity. Cook until most of the wine is evaporated, about 5 minutes. Taste and correct for salt. Remove the meat from the hocks and shred it with your hands or chop it up. If you want, you can make another batch of stock out of the bones and the skins. It will be weaker the second time round, but still useful for adding to soups and stews. Let's see how split peas are doing. They are completely tender and creamy. Let's add the pork and the sofrito. At this point, my soup is too thick, but we can easily thin it out. I like to pour some water into my sofrito pan to pick up all the remaining bits and pour that into my pot. That's better. Let's add some acidity. I'm using pomegranate molasses, but balsamic vinegar would also be fabulous. Let's see what we've got. Ouch! Do we need salt or what? Just a reminder that I'm using Diamond Crystal Kosher salt. It is very unsalty, so I need way more volume than most other salts. If you want to go by weight, the total amount of salt, not counting what was in the pork and in the sofrito, was 16 to 17 grams. And keep in mind that only 2 of my hocks was smoked and thus salted, so your mileage will vary. If I keep standing here, I'll eat the whole pot, so it's time to get civilized and eat from a bowl. Throw some sourdough croutons on top, a drizzle of olive oil, and enjoy. Here are some frequently asked questions that I get from my students about this and other soups. Can I cut the recipe in half? Absolutely, but keep in mind that this soup freezes insanely well. My recipe produces 10 very generous portions. That's 10 lunches that are ready to heat and eat anytime. My soup is too thick. What do? Keep adding water. There is no limit on the amount of water you can add. Do whatever it takes to get the right consistency. Don't worry, you won't dilute the flavor. Once you get the texture you want, add more salt and acidity. Why don't you add more water in the beginning? A couple of reasons. First of all, I already had my Instant Pot full to the max for pressure cooking. Every pressure cooker has a mark above which you can't go. But after the pressure cooking is done, I have plenty of room in the pot for more water. I have a tendency to make my soups too thick even when I am using a regular pot and adjust their thickness in the end. Just remember that it's way easier to make them thinner than to make them thicker. My soup turned into a brick in the fridge. Why? This soup will completely solidify in the fridge due to the gelatin in the stock and the starch in the peas. It will loosen up some when you rewarm it, but will likely be a lot thicker than on the first day. I always add some water to it when I rewarm it. Before serving, taste and adjust for salt and acidity. Anytime water goes in, salt and acidity should also go in. Aren't you using too much salt? I get it. It looks like a lot. So listen up, because this is the most important part of the video. This is what makes or breaks your cooking. To season to taste, you need enough intuition to get in the ballpark, and that's tricky. Say you normally cook for 2 people. You get used to the amount of salt you need for 2 portions. But the amount of soup I'm making here is for 10 people. And not only that, but soup contains way more weight per portion than any other food. Just picture a portion of chicken versus a portion of soup. What's bigger? Soup. This means that you are in a situation where you need to grab roughly 5 to 8 times the amount of salt your intuition tells you to grab. That's a tough situation to be in. So how do you deal with that? I suggest you pour yourself a bowl of soup and gradually add salt, tasting after each addition. When you think you got it right, add a bit more. If the soup got better, the previous amount wasn't right. Don't stop until the soup is too salty. Don't worry, it's just 1 bowl, pour it back into the pot and no harm is done. Now that you know what just right is like, season the whole pot. Here are more culinary tutorials for you to check out, and the link to my online classes is in the description below.